All right, we're ready to get started? That means Dina, sit down. Good morning, everybody. My name is Deanne Ganaway. I work in Italy, where I'm a coordinator for the professional learning, which means I'm part of the team that puts together the program for Teaching and Learning Week. I've also got a really keen interest in work-integrated learning, and I've done a couple of projects around that. So when we were talking about the Teaching and Learning Week program, one of the things that we were talking about was there was an awful lot of emphasis around teaching and not much in the way of learning. So what we thought we might do is actually look at one of the projects that I've been working with colleagues from the Student Employability Centre, and Anna Richards was too scared to stand up and be here with me, so that's why I am here. And actually, Zarice has been part of this. In fact, the program was called Time to Shine, and that was Zarice's contribution, along with all the advertising and a whole bunch of other work that's happened around the place as well. So the Time to Shine program was specifically aimed at the students that we've been working with who are wonderful volunteers across the university, who give up of their time, their energy to be student ambassadors, to be mentors, to be partners, to do a lot of the work where we really want to put students front and center. And there's a whole group of people that are brilliant at all this kind of work. One of the things that we were concerned about is that they don't necessarily realize their sheer awesomeness. And one of the things that we wanted to be able to do to work with them was actually to elevate the kind of learning that they have across their entire 4-year, 3-year program, whatever the length of time that they take, and try and get them to think carefully through all of the learning that they have right the way through their entire experience, curricular, extracurricular, and co-curricular, and to try and unpack what that looks like for a prospective employer, or just for themselves, actually. So the Time to Shine program had a series of activities where we got people together. We used the SEAL framework to help the people that we were working with unpack what it was that they had actually learned. Got them to, then we had some really seriously generous participants and collaborators from across the whole of the university who were work-integrated learning coordinators, who took on the roles of being interviewers and gave them some ideas about the kinds of things that they might want to experience. We're actually going to be meeting them again in a couple of weeks after the exam period to try and unpack a further aspect around a pitch about what it is that they've actually learned and how they might articulate those to the potential employers. And you're going to get a sneak peek of that today. So we have some seriously wonderful, generous, because it is study week at the moment, generous people who are also extremely brave, who are actually going to give you an idea of their pitches and where they are at the moment. So I'd like to ask you if you could welcome, please, round of applause, the group of people that are going to give us a very short introduction to what it is that they've actually learnt about themselves and how they might present themselves across the period of time that they're doing things. We're then going to have the opportunity to ask them some questions, and you might be able to give them some feedback around how things that they've progressed as well. Is everybody clear with what we're doing? So that's good. I'm going to hand over the first person. You can do this thing.
Is this working? Okay, good. So good morning, everyone. Thank you, Deanne, for that. So my name is Hafsa. I'm an international student here at UQ, doing an undergraduate degree in business management with majors in business economics. This is my penultimate year. I'm originally from Pakistan. I was raised in Saudi Arabia, and now I moved to Australia. So I've been at UQ for 4 semesters now, and I think this was such a great experience to really self-reflect on where I started out and where I'm currently going. So I arrived to UQ late. I missed orientation, and the very first lecture I attended was here in Abel Smith, Accounting 101, where I was freaking out because I had no idea what the hell was happening around me. And I actually I met the very first person here who's my best friend. We still stay in touch to this day. But the very first semester at UQ, I was super scared. Like, I didn't know where I was. I just threw myself out of my comfort zone. And if anyone has ever been to Saudi Arabia, you might know that's a little bit conservative. And for me to step out of that comfort zone and be more open and more expressive wasn't really something I was used to. It was something I had to become. So I just wanted to get a familiar sense of my surroundings and the cultural change, the academic change. So I really didn't do much. I was a bit in my own cocoon. I was part of a few clubs like UQBA, UQES, but I really didn't know what I was gonna do. I enjoy management and leadership, and I love economics, hence the degree I chose. So fast forwarding my first year, I went back home and I was completely lost, like, Mom, I really don't know what I'm doing right now. So I came back in my second year, my first semester, and UQ's business school had brought an employer on campus called Bain & Co. They're a management consultants company. And I was speaking to other companies such as banks and investments and all that. And I spoke to Bain & Co. and I left that room feeling inspired. I felt like this was something I could do. The way the work was structured matched what I wanted to do, matched my personality. And so I was dedicated to becoming a management consultant. So the first thing I did was how can I get my experience and how can I grow myself? And so I signed myself up for the UQ Employability Advantage Award. I looked at the PDF of activities, and there was the first thing of being a UQ student leader. I said, all right, I have no idea what this is, but let's figure this out. So the very first event I attended was a UQ mentoring event, actually, for mental health. And I felt like I was home. I was doing things I loved doing. I was advocating for something I was passionate about, and I just fell right into it. I also got involved in UQ's business school's community engagement program, which gave me a really good idea of what a consultant's role looks like. So I was able to add that portfolio into into my portfolio. After that, I became more proactive in clubs. I started showing up more to clubs. I became more involved in the business school. I did the management consultancy challenge. I did the student work experience program as well. And then my second semester, which is very recently, I got involved with 180 Degrees Consulting here at UQ. It's a student-led representative group, which basically students are management consultants for a semester, and they're given an actual project to work with other students, a consultant leader, and a consultant director. So that was what I was doing this semester. I was busy working with these guys as well. I did UQ's Startup Leaders Idea Hub, which is basically trying to empower women to excel in entrepreneurship. So working with 180 Degrees Consulting gave me a lot of opportunities to work with Nous Group, which is another consulting company here in Australia. And they invited me over to a design jam very recently. It was basically talking about how we can manage healthcare issues faced not only in Queensland and Australia, but globally. And I thought that was a great idea because I worked on a government project last semester, I was working on a finance project this semester, and I thought if I worked on a medical project for a day, that's another project I could add to my portfolio. So we worked on this project for like 8 hours. I worked on this project with 9 other people who I'd never met in my life. People from QUT and Bond and a registered nurse and a doctor. We came up with this project where we wanted to create this app to target mental health. So I was designated to delegate and to speak in the Brisbane Convention Centre to 500 people about this project. And before I went up and spoke, I ended up realizing that there was a prize to be involved. And I didn't know that. I just came there for this sheer experience. And after that, after all the pitching of ideas, my group won. And Nous Group, along with Hacking Health Queensland, is giving us the opportunity to market this product. So currently I'm prototyping this product, and hopefully we're going to get this out into market within the next 2 years. I think looking back into the next 4 semesters I've been here, from someone who's completely lost, thrown out of my comfort zone, to someone trying to find her niche in building my networking here at UQ through student leaders, through mentoring, through all the wonderful programs the business school offers, to actually starting out as an entrepreneur is super, super exciting for me. And I think coming here was such a good way of self-reflecting of how much I've grown professionally. And next year is my final year, and I have got lots planned. So I'm super, super excited for what next year holds for me. And I'm extremely grateful for all of UQ staff and students for helping me on this journey. Thank you.
Thank you. And if we didn't have enough there, I'm going to hand over to you, Monty.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Monty. I'm currently a third-year psychological science international student. So today I'm here to share my story at UQ. As a new student from Hong Kong, I joined and was mentored in a Jumpstart program. So it's called Jumpstart Academic Preparation Program, which we call JSAP. My mentors share their stories with me and provide guidance and support as I started at UQ. I found this really valuable, and so in my second year, I chose to participate as a mentor. As a group leader for JSAP and O24 mentor program, I shared my own experience with the freshmen as well as assisting the first year students and international students to build up their social networks and give them academic and general support in this new environment. From that experience, I've developed the ability to encourage and motivate students to work together and create strong social bonds. And in my second year, I was looking for clinical experience in UQ, which relate to my degree. So I became a volunteer in the Good Neighbor program. This is where the volunteers has to visit an aged care facility with residents with mental health conditions and disabilities. Being engaged in this program allowed me to build a social relationship with the residents and encourage them to develop their interests. As a result of experience, my understanding of people with mental health conditions and disabilities has been greatly enhanced. And I also have a better understanding of working in clinical setting and what sort of situation I may have to encounter in the future. I've also been a peer writing mentor from the end of last year. The experience allowed me to understand more about the difficulties that the new students and the international students will face at UQ. And as a peer writing mentor, I help other students, but I found that it is also beneficial to me and that I have better understanding on writing and have input my own. By participating in different activities during my time in UQ, so far, I found myself enjoying working with people and helping them to work together in a cohesive group. In addition, I'm now willing to walk out from my comfort zone and accept new challenges. And that's the reason why I'm here and sharing my story in so many people in this lecture hall. And of course, I'm extremely nervous and I'm trembling now. But I know that through this public speaking engagement, I'm developing my ability to communicate with different audiences. All of these experiences are useful to me, regardless of the career path I'm going to choose. Pursuing a postgraduate degree will be my next challenge, since I'm still considering between PhD degrees and my master degrees. Yeah. And, but no matter which one I'm going to choose, I hope to continue through my passion for psychology. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Demi Rose, and I'm in my 5th year of a Bachelor of Environmental Management with honours. This program's not supposed to take 5 years, but like a lot of students, I didn't plan my courses quite right, and I had some bumps along the way, but I will be graduating in December. Yay! Thank you. When I first started here, I felt very lost and isolated. Orientation week left me overwhelmed, and my experience of classes was impersonal through large lecture theatres and websites. I persevered though, and I got pretty good at the academic side of university. I'd not given much thought to my future career or known the importance of extracurricular experiences until whilst on a field trip to a cattle station in the semi-arid zone. A lecturer told me no employer ever really wants to know your grades, so I started thinking more about getting involved in activities outside of study. In third year, I became a student leader for the Jumpstart program, which, as Monty said, is a week-long program to help new students settle into uni life. And as a student leader, I just took on some presentations, shared my experiences, answered questions, and showed students around. Having felt really unsure when I started uni, I thought there was a lot I could pass on, so people didn't feel as lost as I did. And in reflecting for presentations, it really made me realise how far I'd come. I also met a lot of other students who were also interested in getting experience, and they helped me find out other opportunities and how to access them. In my fourth year, I applied for work experience at the Karawatha Discovery Centre because I wanted my chance to share my accumulated knowledge, my love for the environment, and newly gained perspectives. Whilst working there, among other things, I helped create educational games, activities, and guided walk aids. Through this experience, I learned to take initiative, change my communication style and what I'm trying to impart to visitors' needs. I've stayed on as a volunteer greeter because I wanted to see how projects turned out, and I found I really enjoyed speaking with people who had liked the same things I do and were connected to industries I might want to enter one day. Around the same time I started that work experience, I was volunteering as a conversationalist through the Conversation Club at ICTE, where pretty much I just chat and play games with international students learning English. It's really helped me refine my communication skills. I've learnt to listen carefully, focus on other people and help them practice their language skills, which has been good. I've also gained experience because it makes gained confidence because it makes me feel like I'm part of a community. People at the university know me and I know them, and that's nice. And I also found it really complements my work experience at Karawatha because the visitors there are pretty multicultural also. Last year, the SEAS Industry Placement Officer, Amanda Cook, who helped me apply for my Karawatha work and knew what I was interested in, connected me with the National Parks Association of Queensland for my industry placement, which is a compulsory part of my degree. MPAQ is a members-run charity with a small office team, committees, the focus on education, and they advocate their members' opinions about national park to the government, basically. Here I met people who generally cared about the same things I do. I really enjoyed working with them, and I found an environment I could be productive in. I also took a chance and worked on a project which was not originally assigned to me, and I was pretty glad because it allowed me to become a valuable member of the team, bring together many skills I'd learned at university, and I saw that the job environment doesn't have to be as stressful as demoralising as sometimes lecturers portray it. And at the end, we got the chance to discuss with other students doing the placement at the same time, and this allowed me to see the value in what I've been doing and articulate my experience. My experience so far has been one of growing confidence, being richly rewarded for taking chances, and having faith in myself, and gaining maturity and perspective. I've realised that nothing is intimidating as I think it will be, and people I've worked with have been really supportive and friendly. When I started here, I was so shy I couldn't even order lunch at one of the restaurants on campus, and now I'm speaking in an auditorium, so I think I'm doing something right. And after graduation, I hope to contribute by finding the place where my skills and time would be most valuable and where I can really make a difference. And I'd really like to be sort of the go-to person for some specific topic that I really understand. And ideally, I'd like to go into the non-for-profit sector and maybe work on community development, public education, or a landscape scale conservation project. So that's enough for me. Thank you.
Tiffany.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for offering the opportunity to share my experience of life at UQ. I'm Tiffany, and I'm currently in my third year of studying Bachelor of Psychological Science. I've known for a long time that I wanted to be a clinical psychologist, and even when I started studying at UQ, I knew that to be successful in this job, I would need to develop certain skills, such as leadership, being confident, or building the trusting relationship with others. So from first year, I was quite deliberate about getting involved in the activities that will help me to develop these skills. I already felt fairly confident as a new student, but being involved in additional activities made me realize that there are other ways that I could develop myself too. I also wanted to really make the most of the activities that are available at UQ and meet more new people. I have been a student leader at UQ since 2017. I volunteer for Jumpstart program and O24 mentor program, and this year as a peer writing mentor. In this program, I shared my study methods and my past experience of university life of a group of freshmen. Being a student leader has developed my leadership skills, communication skills, and problem-solving skills. I communicate with people who are from different faculties and different countries. And it is very wonderful to share my opinions and my study experience with my fellow students. And in addition, I have also worked as a research scholar in the winter and summer holidays. This program required me to have good analysis, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills. Furthermore, the program also boosts my communication and collaboration skills when I need to work with other group of researchers. And the role of research scholar definitely helps me to prepare for my future study pathway, as I'm going to study PhD after my current degree. And it also enlarged my social network as I have the chance to work with other researchers. I felt that studying at a research-intensive university such as UQ has allowed me to recognize how valuable a PhD is, and the kind of contribution that I could make through research. And this is something that is definitely aligned with my passion towards psychology more than before. And this is the most remarkable experience that I have obtained from UQ. I am very grateful that UQ has provided me the opportunity to enhance my all-round development, as I hope to work in a clinical field as a clinical or counseling psychologist. In the future, I believe all the aforementioned activities will equip me confidently to communicate with other people and as well as work efficiently with others. And thank you for today, as this is my day. And thank you for listening.
Victor.
Hello. My name is Victor Hasser, and I am currently in my final year of an Honours of Science, majoring in biomedicine. My thesis seminar is in 1 week time, so it's pretty go, go, go. I think the way I'll kind of go through this is probably chronologically, looking at the steps I've taken here at UQ, highlight some kind of formative experiences that have led me to be here today, and kind of look ahead, hopefully not too far in the crystal ball, of where those skills can take me. So I'm originally from a kind of small town suburb outside of Townsville called Bluewater, and I came here in first year to St. John's College, kind of seeing Townsville, kind of regional city, as the centre of the universe. So coming here, I definitely wanted to sort of expand my horizons and see what was possible. I stayed at St. John's College for 2 years on an academic scholarship, which was pretty cool to kind of see, okay, I can have some fun there, get involved in the college lifestyle, but still keep up some good grades. But I think an important aspect of that was definitely networking and understanding the people around me, getting to know a lot of driven people around my age that I wasn't necessarily exposed to back at home. In second year, I kind of took a step to kind of go out of my comfort zone and got fairly involved with UQ debating, joined the debating society and also debated for St. John's College, which, to be honest, is something I never would have considered, but I definitely wanted to improve my skills there and see where that could take me. In addition to that, I work part-time at a company called Elevate Education, which delivers kind of educational seminars to high schools and kind of taking those transferable skills and also learning a lot for me along the way, which helped me with uni. At the end of my second year, I was approached with a new challenge. I was approached to see if I wanted to be president of the UQ Beer and Rum Society, which at this point in time was a fledgling club with 26 members. So I kind of saw this as a really fun opportunity and to see where I could take it. So under kind of my leadership, it grew from 26 to 700 members. As it currently stands, as of about a week ago, this year membership is at 2.8 thousand. So it's definitely expanded a lot there. And that's just one little contribution that I had a lot of fun with. Can go into detail how we did that later. And what this year has kind of entailed in my final year, Bachelor of Biomedical Science Honours, is working with the Biomedical Education Research Group in kind of understanding and developing student self-assessment capabilities. So really going full circle and, again, trying to apply those skills to a scalable audience of students. I've also been lucky enough to be involved in student-staff partnerships, which saw me help redesign a third-year biomedical science course, taking some things that I would have liked seeing in that course when I was doing it. And yeah, there was a lot of satisfaction in being able to apply that, which is great. And I've seen further employment as a tutor for that course now as well. Now it's kind of bringing it all together and seeing where this can be applied. Personally, I would like to stay involved with science. I really do enjoy statistics and using that data to kind of make rational, informed decisions. But, you know, currently looking at PhD, I'm not necessarily sure that's the path I want to take. I will be interning at the end of this year at one of the Big Four. And I do have some interviews coming up in risk consulting, of all things, and research and development, tax as well. So it's been an interesting formulation. It's been a great ride. And I have a lot to thank UQ for allowing that to happen. Thank you.
And last but definitely not least, Amanda, over to you.
Hi everyone, my name's Amanda Salmon. I'm currently in my 4th year of doing a Bachelor of Psychological Science. I'm a future geropsychology research champion determined to capture the everyday problems experienced by older people and address them using innovative approaches to give them a brighter future. After volunteering in a nursing home providing companionship to a lady with dementia, I developed a strong passion not only for making that person's day better, but a grander vision of helping all older people. A vision of addressing their psychological problems and improving their psychological disposition, especially those experiencing cognitive decline. Fortunately, UQ's given me a solid academic foundation with the Bachelor of Psychological Science, but it takes more than a piece of paper to make me great at what I do. I've shown great research potential through my problem-solving, critical thinking and academic writing skills, which are highlighted in all the work I've produced to date. In particular, this year I produced an honours project working with the RSPCA, looking at the effects of animal volunteering on older people. It's my proudest achievement, not because it went smoothly, because it absolutely didn't, because of how I was able to handle the many difficulties during the process. From unhelpful nursing home staff to older people who just struggle to communicate, I met each challenge head-on with resilience and determination, coming out the other side feeling like I learned more this year than I ever could have if things went the way I planned. As a UQ volunteer and student leader, as well as the Academic and Careers Director for the Psychology Student Association, I've grown to be a great leader this year. Plus, nothing teaches you time management like volunteering, working 3 jobs with a full-time study load. While it's been tough at times, I've gained so much insight and experience, such as working directly with older people with mental issues at Belmont Private Hospital, where I've been able to finely tune my natural talents in understanding the needs of others through communication and emotional intelligence. I've also had the opportunity to work with the UQ Student Centre, helping students, and I've also taken on a new role with my thesis supervisor as a research assistant. While my dreams of being a geropsychological researcher may seem ambitious, my time at UQ has taught me to embrace the unknown with confidence, and I plan on using this newfound confidence to create change, no matter where I go.
At this point I was going to say, so we put the learning into Teaching and Learning Week, because some of the things that you've been talking about, new learning has just been incredible. But now I'm actually going to reframe that, and I'm going to say, Oh my God, I think wow, the world's better. So I'd like to thank you as a future person who'll be using some of the things that you've been doing, because I think we're onto a good wicket here. We've now got an opportunity to have some questions and some comments and good conversation and some feedback from the people that are around here. I have a microphone, and I'm ready to use it. Okay.
Hello. Hi, I'm Dino. I'm the director of the Student Employability Centre, so I may or may not have spoken to some of you guys before. I don't know. Anyhow, I wanted to do what we were talking about earlier and actually reflect on some of the things that you've been talking about. And when I think about all of the different things you've said, so you've got some very intentional decision-making there from Hafsa, and Monty actually going through every piece of learning that you got from the experience that you got. It was really, really interesting. Denise, that desire to help, very strong feeling actually, which links in with Amanda, desire to help, but a very strong one-to-one relationship to what you want to do, which the same with you, Tiffany. You're like, dead, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm very impressed with people who ever feel like that. I studied philosophy. I don't know how I ended up where I am, but it's great to see that kind of drive. And Victor, I was very interested that you intentionally said, I want to expand my horizons. Now, with all of you, all of these are very different stories, but the one thing that's common, there's two things that's common. One, you're all mentors in some way. The second thing is you've all talked about pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. And I wanted to ask you a question about, just generally, what did you gain the most from the mentoring? And how did that concept of a kind of safe fail, there's this phrase of safe fail, you push yourself out of your comfort zone, you learn from the mistakes, that kind of thing. How did that feed into that mentoring? So two questions.
Okay, so first thing about gaining from mentoring, and second, pushing the comfort zone. I think definitely with mentoring, you kind of have to know your stuff. You're probably, if you're not 100% around a concept or an idea, it's going to be a lot more challenging to explain that to someone. So if you're definitely on the spot and you don't know a concept or an idea, it kind of makes you reflect and go, okay, next time I've got to be on it. So definitely it does push you, making sure to be the best you possibly can be. And in regarding pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, I think the comfort zone itself, I constantly love to be kind of going outside of it. I think the exact opposite of going outside of my comfort zone is staying in my comfort zone. So I think just being open to opportunities and really just putting your hand up and getting involved is the best way forward.
There you go.
So in terms of pushing myself out of the comfort zone, definitely the cultural change was something that was definitely called like a huge jump for me. I'm always looking for something to push myself. Even this semester, I was working with 180 Degrees Consulting. I'm starting this new business. I'm working with the startup leaders. I was doing a student staff partnership, and I'm also working for courses. Let's not forget that. So I'm always looking for ways to push myself, and I really feel like all those stepping out is really a great way of building a story, and that's why I chose mentoring. A lot of the mistakes I've made, I felt I could share those with other people, especially as someone who came in late, as in the first semester, who missed orientation and was thrown into this huge lecture theater with everyone just looking at you like, what's happening right now? So I think it's so important to share those stories with others, so that it not only just makes you self-reflective of, wow, how much I have grown as a person, but how much I can help those who might land in themselves in the same position as I was.
And do you want to respond to that question as well?
Yeah, can yeah. I think for what I can gain from the mentoring program is because I'm the international student, I don't know much about the culture here at the first place. And that's why when I go to the mentoring session with the first year student, sometimes we will just keep exchanging different cultures and about what the faculty is facing. And as I study psychology, but most people who I'm mentoring with is either study medicine or mathematical science, and that's why this is something that I have no idea what is going on. And that's why, I think how I need to change my communication with different kinds of people is really something that I need to learn from it. And also this train my listening skills as well, as sometimes they will share what they're facing about the stressful moment. And I think it's also kind of out of my comfort zone, as I need to accept something that I may not understand, and I need to let them know that this is something that I may not understand, but I can help you to speak to others and also kind of helping them too, so that I really care about what they are facing and help them to find some more.
Great, thanks. Any other questions or other questions from? There's one at the back. Okay, thank you. There was somebody at Doonesbury. Was there a question at the back? Somebody was pointing. There.
Thanks so much. Yasmina from pharmacy. I was an undergrad at UQ. I came sort of straight from a war zone 22 years ago from Bosnia, and kind of navigated my way through the undergrad and postgrad. Currently, I'm involved in work-integrated learning as a topic at the School of Pharmacy. I'm a lecturer over there, over at PACE. Now, some of us have talents and some of us have skills, and some of us navigate, and sometimes we have meetings that change our life, and sometimes we find that in courses. What I'm really interested in is sort of making the implicit learning somewhat explicit. I'm really interested in your views on how much your safe fails, your trial and error, your ability to go out there and investigate for yourself, your soft skills like your personalities, lovely personalities, how much do you feel that was supported by the assessment throughout your courses? Because I'm really interested in that element. I find that my students are trying to be perfect at everything. And it's the imperfection that's good for the soul. It's actually what makes us human. So I'd like to sort of hear from you and your opinion on this.
I'll start since I'm holding the microphone. I do think there's some amount of that built into the courses. It's not a real lot because we do have a lot of traditional exams and essays and reports and things like that. But I do remember in first year we did have to do a few reflective assignments on what we'd been learning, and things where we were given things to read and say our opinions with it. And certainly in tutorial classes, I feel like this sort of assessment, sometimes you get participation marks for turning up, and they do want to encourage people to discuss things and share their thoughts and opinions and sort of be themselves and talk about what they've been learning, what they enjoy. And certainly with industry placement, because you don't have, you can go into any industry you want, you just have to get someone to agree to take you on and give you a project. So I think it really gives you a chance to build who you are, and because that has a lot of reflection in it also. Does anyone else want to say something?
Yeah, maybe for my course it's also similar as for psychology course. We do have the exam, but we also have lots of other assessment. Like for one course we have like 5 different assessments, and every assessment is kind of like building your skills for the next assessment. That's why even when we fail, we may not gain, like people who are studying psychology will usually aim to get GPA 7, and they don't want to fail or lose any 1 mark or anything. And that's why for the first assessment, and our tutor will usually tell us that this is your first trial, and you just need to face, even you may lose 1 or 2 marks, it's okay. This is something that you will gain for the next assessment, and they will keep like helping us to learn how we should change about our attitude towards the assessment, instead of just focus on whether it's GPA 7 or 6 or whatever you get. And that's why it's something very, I think, remarkable for what I got from all my courses in psychology, as all the tutor is very supportive, and even maybe you are not doing very well, even you actually doing well, but it may not as what your standard is, but they will still like giving you a consultation and helping you to like patiently to tell you what you can do better for next time. And that's like something very beneficial for, I think, all our students.
Anybody else? Yeah, here we go.
Thank you. So as part of the business school, a lot of the courses are structured around theory. It's a lot of very theory-based course. And then I progressed, as I've progressed into my second year, the theory has built on from what I've learned in my first year. So that's how a lot of my courses place, but I think the Bell has done a wonderful job in that aspect where the courses are all theory-based, but a lot of the programs they offer, such as the community engagement program and the work experience program, the career mentoring program, and a list of which I've been involved in, I can't even recall any of them now, but they allow me to actually use what I've learned in the classroom setting into the workplace. So I think that's a really good balance of ensuring that I'm not just memorizing theory up in here. I'm actually seeing how it works. And I feel like a lot of the clubs here as well, I've actually had to use some of my theory as well, especially the 180 degrees consulting. That's where I've had to use a lot of my 2 years of theory into a project.
Another question or comment? Can I have one first? Because I've been waiting patiently. Thank you. You're exceptional people. You're really exceptional people. And I know one of the things that we keep hearing about is that, what about the rest of UQ student body? So I think the fact that you've been doing a lot of volunteer work, that you've been doing a lot of activities, all that kind of stuff around the work, and you're obviously also very good students as well. You're exceptional people. What could you recommend, or what would you recommend to first years at the beginning of next year about how they can become as exceptional as you are?
So definitely, if you arrive on time, JSAP. I was part of JSAP in my second semester, just right recently.
JSAP being?
Jumpstart Academic Preparation Program. So you get an idea of what the academic culture is like at UQ, and you hear from people like myself who were completely lost on how to not be lost. I think that's a really good way of getting started. UQ Student Leader. Definitely, that's a really good way of networking and meeting other students. As I've always been a very introverted person. I think in the last couple of years, since I was in year 11, I've had to force myself to step out of that introverted bubble of mine and be more extroverted and talk. I think UQ Student Leader is a wonderful opportunity of meeting people who are like you, who are a little bit apprehensive about volunteering at these huge events. That's a great way. Definitely also doing part of conversationalist IST volunteer. I'm also part of that as well. So that's a really good way of meeting other international students and people maybe who are like you. That's a great way, I think, of getting started, and just maybe getting involved in like general clubs that relate to your degree. If you're doing business, UQBA or UQES, but there's a lot of ways you can help yourself. I think the biggest advice is step out of your comfort zone. It's going to seem scary, but that's the way you know you're pushing yourself and you're getting the most out of your time here at UQ.
There's a lot of nodding, but is there anything else that anybody else wants to add to that?
I just wanted to say that it's probably important not to completely dive straight into everything all at once in your first semester, because just coming to university, just getting used to the campus and all the people and what you're studying and learning how to take notes and use all the websites is terrifying enough without trying to join 5 clubs all at once and trying to find out about all the experiences. But it's just important to have that in your mind and always be thinking, you know, this is an important thing that I'm doing. This isn't just classes. This is going to be my life someday. To always have that in the back of your mind, but not go crazy. As one of my lecturers once compared it to a quoll, which is a small Australian marsupial, which is pretty endangered because the males kind of go on a giant frenzied binge once they're able to mate, and completely they just go crazy. They take off and lose all their body weight. And we don't want people to become quolls. We want them to be a bit more thoughtful than that. Yes. Does anyone else have anything to say?
Anybody else? I think.
Okay, good.
Amanda.
Just to join up to the UQ Employability Award, even if you don't do it straight away, like I didn't join up until my 3rd year, and a lot of the things that I've done, including getting my job at the UQ Student Centre, the volunteering that I've done, the fact that I've been on a committee, has all been because I've been inspired by the UQ Employability Award. So stuff like that, you know, opens up so many opportunities to meet new people and get involved in so many things that you didn't even know existed until you got onto the UQ Student Employability Centre, and I want to thank them very much for all their help and support this year, because they've just been so fantastic to work with.
an extension to Deanne's question. From your friends and colleagues, what's stopping them being like you?
I think the biggest one is time management. I feel like a lot of people say, oh, it's so difficult to manage 4 courses. And they're always looking at me like, Hafsa, how are you still sane after all of this? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I always just tell them that it's going to seem really challenging, but you have to prioritize what each of those things mean and what are you trying to gain from that. Everything that I have been a part of has been in some way related to what I want to do in the future, and also just a way of growing myself professionally and personally. So I think that's a really important thing, is just prioritizing yourself and just thinking, if I do this, what am I trying to get out of it? And managing your time management, I think, is really, really crucial in that aspect. And a lot of them just don't know. They don't have that awareness. If I tell someone I'm a UQ conversationist volunteer, they're like, eh? So I would always tell them, like, this is how it's worked, this is how it is. So maybe just a little bit of maybe lack of awareness about some of the things, but then once they figure it out from me, they're like, okay, we'll do it. I want to give that a shot as well.
Rock and roll, okay. So leading on, although I do think time management is very important, unfortunately, I think there's a big consideration that a lot of the opportunities we've kind of had, yes, we've gone out and got them, but I mean, there are a lot of structural barriers for a lot of students, unfortunately. Like that is a consideration that has to, be touched on. I've been fortunate enough that I don't have to commute an hour and a half every day. I've been lucky enough to kind of be able to work conveniently and kind of put myself in a position where I can contribute more. There are a lot of considerations for students who do want to get involved, but then it is looking at how they can kind of apply themselves. I think, it's kind of maybe changing some things you can't change where you live and that sort of thing. Maybe matching the appropriate task with what's actually possible based on those sort of barriers. But yeah, no, putting your hand up and getting involved is very important.
Anybody else? Tiffany, did you want to say something? And Monty as well?
Yes, I think the time management is really important as well. As my friend is like the opposite for your example, is she has lots of work, but she thinks that the volunteer work or other things is more important. That's why she spends so many work in the volunteering work or the other activities, but didn't focus on her assignment, and that's why make her parents and family like not support for what she's doing. That's why the time management can be like both sides, like not only for when you have too many work. And the second thing is I also heard from my friend that they don't know what the program they are offering. Like they only know the student leader, but they don't know about the Jumpstart program or other program. And that's why I think this is something that when they heard us, like I work for Jumpstart program or I work for the peer writing, and they will ask, what's this? And they go, there's something they post on online, you didn't see it? And they say, I didn't see this before. And it's like, yeah, I think something, maybe the information is not like spreading good enough.
Monty, did you want to add to that?
I was just going to say that I agreed that part of it is just people knowing about these programs and that they exist and that they're allowed to do it, because I didn't even know there were opportunities for undergraduate students when I started here. I kind of thought, you'd have to be a PhD student in a role to be a tutor or something, or you'd have to be doing your honours project to do research. And I think sometimes it is just visibility and people having the opportunity to communicate with each other and say, I did this thing and it was great and it was easy and everyone was really helpful, and it was flexible around my work and classes and things.
I think one of the challenges is most people tend to stay in their comfort zone, and they have many worries when they kind of know that there will be some new opportunities that they may engage in. So even when I was at the beginning, when I was trying to volunteer in the Good Neighbor program, and I was very nervous, and I was very worried about what should I do, and will I do good in the program. So there are many considerations, like the worry to get failed. So I think that would be one of the challenges that most people will encounter when they try to be exceptional, but they're just worried.
There's two more questions, three more. You've got a microphone there. So, Peter, I guess you're next then.
Thank you. I'm going to follow on with Deanne and Doon's excellent questions. So we've got a bit of an idea of some good recommendations of what students can do to improve their employability. We've got some good feedback on some of the barriers. I'm really interested to find out what your advice would be so that more students develop an understanding of why this is so important. I mean, you seem very self-motivated, and you sort of put yourself out there, but I'm sure there are a lot of students out there who probably don't quite realise until it's too late that there are some fantastic opportunities, and it's so important for them to take advantage of those while they can. So what would you advise to the university, to other students, to help more students understand why this is so important?
You've got a whole bunch of people here who do that kind of stuff. Tell us what to do. What should we do?
Okay.
Okay,
Is that good?
He's got a list.
So I think it's probably one of the big things that we've kind of talked about at the moment, and I think an important consideration. It is rather challenging, but I think a good step in the right direction is definitely in regards to kind of visibility. So one thing I've been, go through and kind of look at, okay, what awards are being given out, what opportunities are there, and kind of directing, okay, I'll apply for that, I'll get involved in that. I think visibility is definitely very important. Maybe in regards to just a possible practical suggestion, if there are schools or faculties, maybe personal emails sent to students regarding opportunities, such as, I think some schools do it already, but definitely in regards to either awards or internships or those sort of student-start partnerships, kind of directing them personally to the students that you want to target as a way to increase engagement of a breadth of students. I think that's a step in the right direction. Okay.
Any other suggestions?
Just a suggestion.
And I don't know about other faculties, but I know certainly as part of the School of Psychology, there's a lot of information sessions for undergraduate students, postgrad and research students, and even just saying to them, especially at the undergraduate level, that it's important because it's such a competitive field, especially if you want to go into postgraduate, point out that it isn't just about the grades. Like, yes, it is very important to have a good grade, but it's also very important to show them that you really want to be there by doing things like volunteering and the things that we've spoken about today, and just really pushing it to the students that it's more than an education that gets you a job.
So as part of the business school, we get I think every 2 weeks or every week a newsletter basically, and it kind of highlights for this semester, this is what's happening. Do you want to attend an information session? You can just click on this, and there's always a very detailed plan essentially every 2 weeks, and this is what's happening on campus, this is happening around Brisbane, you want to be a part of this. I think that's really great, and adding to Victor, I think visibility is so important. I think a recommendation would be to instill into first-year students how important it is to speak to a representative from your school's employability team. I think that is something I wish someone had told me, because that the first time I saw a student employability team from the Bell School was this semester. So because I did everything just as it just came through my emails, I kind of planned it really roughly in my head. I think it's really important that first years are told that this is a really good thing to get themselves into their school, to speak to a representative from there about kind of how can they map their extracurriculars, what kind of opportunities does the school offer, and how can they develop the students' experience while they're here.
Fantastic, thank you. I wish we could have more time to ask more, but we've actually run out of time now. So I'd like to invite you all to say thank you very much for these wonderful interviews. Yay!